Welcome to another episode of Lifting and Living. I've not done one for a little while, just been too busy. But we've got a special guest on today. We've got uh, the strongest natural shoulders in the world. Well, are you natural? I don't know. We'll find out. We've got the strongest natural shoulders in the world, maybe, with Mr. Dean Pearson. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yep, not bad. Cheers, mate. Not bad. And definitely not under 80s at the minute, mate. I'm enjoying Christmas too much. So I don't know about you. Is that the same for you?
No, it's not too bad. I'm not too bad. About 84.5 this morning.
Oh,
So
right. Hey,
not
nice one, mate.
now I'm sitting lighter than I normally do, to be fair. I normally sit around 87. But since Finland, I've kind of not put the weight back on that I lost. So yeah, but it's good. It's
Stress.
good. I'm
It's stress.
yeah, stress, yeah.
Oh dear. So, say what if you don't know, then if you're watching, just give you a bit of context. This year, well, I'll tell you what, you are um quite a fan of the log, aren't you? You love
uh,
doing log. You'll compete in just about anything that's got some kind of max log event in.
yeah, well, yeah, and Brett, but log is certainly the event I look for. It's the event that I would go into a competition thinking there's a very good chance I can win it, even if that's in all different weight categories. So
And so
it's
you've
always
beaten open weight guys, haven't you? You've beaten open weight
oh
guys.
yeah. This year I won out of 17 open weight guys on a 125 log. So I'm always confident that could be my outstanding event.
Like your banker, yeah.
Yeah.
So um I'll probably, we'll get straight into this because I do want to ask you about other things like I do with other people, what got you into strongman and all that kind of stuff. But um, so this year, obviously, a chance to compete at the World Log Lift Championships with WEA, which is World Heavy Events Association. So it's a natural federation, which means there's like drug testing and all that kind of stuff involved. Um, so you competed in that this year. First of all, tell us
Yep.
how that went for you, because I know you had a
Well,
period where you had to transfer into training a lot with a 10-inch log,
well,
which
yeah.
doesn't
So
normally happen.
Way obviously at the beginning of this year released that they was going to do a deadlift world championship and a log. So I looked at that and thought, well, I don't want to do one of their competitions with 5 events, but the log could be perfect. And obviously, it said it was going to be in Finland, and there was going to be a qualifier for the British lads that never happened. And then I got my invitation. So I looked at it as I could go there and break the world record, being only having to be under 85 kg. 130 kg log. So I thought that's really realistic for me. Even at the beginning of the year, I think I was still hitting 125s quite regular. I was because I hit it in the comp. So I was like, that's a great opportunity, and I've still got basically the whole year to train for it. So I took it up. So I obviously then learned or read that it was not 13-inch log and it was going to be a 10, and I've only ever used 13. So then I had to go down to Bionic where I can train that's regular to me. Obviously, I do train at home, and then I see how hard the clean was for
Oh,
that log. So then I purchased one myself and then just absolutely nailed that for 3 months. And I was hitting 130. I think I hit 131 once. So I was confident. I was confident I could break it. Um, and then I booked up. So
so if
um,
anyone, you don't normally see that. That's almost what you'd consider as, I don't want to say beginners or anything like that. It's not. You don't really see world championships that sort of size log, do you? So that's already
no.
makes it hard as it is. So it's already impressive that you did what you did.
Yeah, honestly, I tried to explain to a few people after how much harder the skinnier log is than the big. Personally, obviously, some people train the skinny log all the time and then they go on to a big one and they think, oh, that's much harder. But I was so used to a monster log on my chest to then go to a 10-inch. It was a huge difference. The clean I struggled with it. After the 3 months practicing it, it was really catching up on my back. Obviously, I'm a bricklayer as a job, so then I was really starting to feel the pain in my lower back to keep on trying to clean this smaller log.
Mm.
But all went to plan. I hit where I thought I needed to get, and I was confident. Well, I wouldn't have gone. I flew a long way, even though it ended up being how I wanted it. I was confident to break it. So
Yeah. So in October, you represented Great Britain. You flew out to Finland, which that must have been a few quid.
yeah, well, I think the flight was 200, and I got a cheapish hotel. Let's just say 70 odd quid. And then obviously my food and travel on the train. I had to get a train because from the airport it was an hour's train journey. So let's say around about £500 it cost me to go there for basically 3 lifts
Yeah.
in the championship, and then you got a fourth. You got a fourth for the world record. So I got there, and yeah, it was a lovely place to be fair. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
So then obviously I got there, and my as you know yourself, I'm not the very best at cuts. I do struggle a little bit with that side of things. So I kind of I was about 87.5, maybe 88 sitting in the mornings, and then I had to obviously get down to 85. So I done my cut. I woke up on the day of the competition at 83.5, and then I weighed in at 9 o'clock, I think it was, and then the competition didn't start till 12. So I did have the time to fill up.
Yeah.
That's what I did, and then the competition started. So I had in my head that I thought, right, I'll open with 110 because as much as people might say, oh, you could have opened with 120. 120 on a log you've never used before is
Yeah.
a
Not worth
choice.
the risk. Yeah.
Finland, and to foul your first lift and not get anything would have been worse.
Yeah.
110 for me was a banker. I knew I'd get 110, and it moved very easy. But I was nervous. It was all Finnish people. I was the only English person. I was aware I was coming out to break a record.
Mm.
And so yeah, I opened with 110. So and then I went on to 115. And that's when I knew that I wasn't going to break the record at 115. Like I say, without having any excuses, I felt like I didn't cut properly. I didn't feel as I would at home in training. I felt fatigued, but I thought maybe the adrenaline would get me through. But when I lifted the 115, do you know what? Looking back now at everything that's happened, it seemed like even then that they didn't want me to win it, because even from lifting the 115, she didn't give me a down command, and I stood there with it over my head for a good few seconds.
Yeah, I know.
And that kind of it blew me then. So the 115, the first one, moved nice. It moved as I thought it would.
Yeah.
And she didn't give it to me. And then obviously I asked a couple of some of the people I met there were really decent people, and I asked them, well, why didn't she give me that? And I was like, oh, she thought you had an arch back. Just made no sense to me. I've lifted logged in front of pros, refs, and they give you it straight away as long as you're standing straight.
Haven't you done? Considering I've competed against you and stuff like that, pretty much nearly every one of your logs, once you're stood up, locked out, you pretty much look the same every rep you do. But
Exactly.
haven't you been judged by like Zaviscus and stuff like
Oh
that?
yes, and even Magnus this year in Arnold's.
Right.
So yeah,
Mm.
so yeah, it was very strange. She, maybe I'm just being biased for myself, but I don't feel like she was doing it to the others as much. Like there was an under 105, I think, or over 100 kg, and he broke the record, and it was like 145, and he never stood there as long as I did with a
Yeah.
115. So that was that. So I fouled that 115, but I didn't. My videos show I completely
You
clocked it
sent it
out.
to me like just a couple of hours later, and you said, "Is anything? What's wrong with this?" And I said, "No." I was like, "It's good lift, mate." And you said,
Yeah,
"Well, I weren't given."
yeah, exactly. She made me stand there for a long time with it overhead. So then I fouled that. So then that threw everything for me. And realistically, in my head, I knew I didn't have a one. I didn't have 130 or 130.5. As I said, I could beat it by half a kg. I knew it weren't there, but I thought I was going to go 110, 115, 120 world record. That was going to be my thing. But so I didn't get the 115. So I had to go and do the 115 again.
Mm.
And it was complete. I did it. And then I went for the 130.5. I cleaned it.
That's a seed in there. Yeah, yeah,
It it felt like about 300 kg. It just wasn't there.
yeah.
But luckily, even knowing when I think about it, it wasn't even a great competition for me. 115 is pretty standard for one rep, and but I won the competition thankfully. So that was the good thing. I was going home as a champion, but
Yeah,
not with a.
it's always the number one thing, isn't it? It's to win. Win.
Yeah, well, in my eyes, I thought if I break the world record, then I'm world champion anyway. So
Yeah,
the winning the championship was always second best, but it was always going to be they was going to come together in my eyes. If I got the world record, I was being the champion anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I only got one out of the two, but I went away happy. Like I said, I returned home straight away. I got straight to the station, the airport, and come home. So it was a long 2 days, but I come home for championship, so
Yeah.
it was good.
So what did second place? What did they lift, or do you not remember?
112.5. Yeah, 112.5. To be honest, I was quite lucky. He was a top lad. I can't remember his name, but he actually went for 120 and fouled it.
Right.
So then my second lift won it.
So
But
it wasn't an easy win, was it? Yeah, you still had
it
to
wasn't
work to
an
win.
easy.
Yeah,
No, it
yeah,
was
yeah,
easy. I basically won it by 2.5 kg. But again, I would have got the 120 if I didn't foul that 115. That in my eyes, I didn't foul.
Hmm.
So I had to retake a lift that I'd already done and completed.
Takes a lot of
And
energy.
it does, and it also knocks your confidence
Yeah,
because you think, say I fuck this up now, like, and I've already done it once, and that can easily done. And the way I train, I I train many times where I foul a 110 and I don't go back on it, and I throw another five on and I do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So that's how I train. Like I don't. I don't, if I know what I'm going towards in training, I don't go back on stuff that I might have fouled. I fouled a 110 today, so and then I just threw another five on and got the 115. So that's just how I train. So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't go back on stuff. So
I think that shows like how confident you are in your pressing, isn't it?
yeah, I think sometimes it's just if I'm warming up or I just step forward or step back
Yeah,
in my head I know that was there, but it just weren't a good lockout. But I'm not going back to it. I'm going to go higher. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I took the championship. So it was a good end to the year, I thought.
yeah. So
And,
as I
and
think, if you're
yeah,
watching this, if you got this far in this little sort of podcast, then you'll know that. So a few weeks later, you get an email, Dean, don't you? And because obviously it's a drug tested federation, it's natural, and so obviously you before you left, you had to do a urine test. Um, but yeah, so a few weeks later, you get an email. What does it say?
so it was 6 weeks to the dot. I think it was 6 weeks to the dot. I received an email. It was, I think, on a Monday, and then the email comes through from Way, and it says you need a drug explanation. It's like I just thought to myself, what? So I ain't on nothing. I thought so. Anyway, you had to put in your area as your password. So I think that was Essex. So I put that in, and
Yeah.
anyway, it comes with Terubaline. Is that how you say it? Terubaline.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
It's
yeah, it don't really matter, I guess, but yeah.
yeah. So it had the written, and then it had the word Terubaline or whatever, however you say it.
Yeah.
So I was that unaware of what it was. I had to Google it there and then.
I had
So
to, yeah.
I had to put it in Google when it come up asthma inhaler. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm asthmatic.
So yeah, yeah.
So
So I've just got what you sent me a few weeks ago. Terbutaline.
butylene, yeah. So
Butaline.
that was highlighted on the email
Yeah.
that is
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
found.
yeah.
So yeah, it was highlighted highlighted that I had failed on that word. So I was like, so my wife come home from work, like, I failed a drugs test. She's like, what? And I said, my asthma pump. She's like, well, that, you can't, you're asthmatic. So obviously then I've started panicking and I've done my research. I've emailed them back. I've said like I'm asthmatic, blah, blah, blah. And do you know what? Even when I went up for my urine test, that at the competition, the guy gives you an iPad and you have to sign it all out. On his form, it said medication and I put asthma pumps and
No.
it's proved better. I even put asthma pumps on there, but I didn't put what ones, the blue and the red. I just put asthma pumps and that
Yeah.
was it. And they took my urine test and that's it. So then when they've sent the email, it says on there a printed thing, you said asthma pumps, but this is prohibited. You can't use it. I was like, look, I'm unaware. I said, this is my first ever competition with Way. I I use my pumps since day one. There's a very good chance that I use my blue one. See the way my asthma works is the red is my daily one, but my blue is when I'm a bit nervous or lacking air. So for me, instance, in England, if we have weather change and it gets really humid,
Yeah.
I really suffer with asthma and I have to take my pumps. If it gets extremely cold, I have to have my asthma pump, my blue one. Well, in Finland, it was -4. So
Yeah.
we've gone from a pretty warm October, or whatever it was, to -4. Plus my nerves in a world championship. Of course, I'm going to take my blue inhaler. It was
Oh yeah.
actually natural thing to do. So yeah, so I tried to explain to them, and then obviously since I think I got invited, I reached out to yourself and Glenn Branch of Bionic because I knew both of you had a lot more experience in the natty federations. Glenn has got competes in all the powerlifting, and you both kind of come back with the same answer, like you you can see that you haven't done it on purpose, but you might not get away with this because it's in the WADA, it's
Yeah.
WADA's decision. So I kind of prepared. I fucked up. Um, I'm gonna have to take the punishment. So I just waited, and I think it took over a week to come back. And don't get me wrong, I was a bit nervous and a bit worried because you obviously think what people are going to think.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, it was a bit of a. I was waking up a lot, like in the mornings. I'd wake up, first thing I'd think about, and then I have to like think to myself, "Fucking hell, it's just an amateur competition. Like, what are you worrying about?" But you do because this is my sport and this is what I do. So then they got back with me and they said, "No, 6 month ban and you lose your title."
Yeah.
But I did read there was up to like a £2,000 fine, and I was thinking, a £2,000 fine on top of Christmas is not what I want, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I got the 6 month ban and the title taken from me. So I messaged and I said, look, I didn't do this on purpose. And their answer back was to me, we've given you the smallest ban we could because we know that you didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. But this is what I said to you, I don't understand. There's so many sports out there. But in a case like yours, because you don't even think about your inhaler, it just goes to show that you're just not a cheat. You're not taking things and trying to get one up on anyone else. It's just a natural thing. You didn't even think about that being an issue. Just goes to show that you're not a cheat.
Yeah. Well,
So
I did
they should
obviously.
have go on, sorry.
I learned about this TUE. Is it a
That's what I
two?
was gonna say, yeah.
I learned about this after. So
So
I
this
said
is
to them,
this is a TUE is a therapeutic usage exemption, isn't it? So if you're
yeah,
on some sort of medication that some get allowed, some don't, but if it's things aren't really going to help your performance, then it usually gets like a thumbs up. You can use it. And you didn't know anything about that, did you? Really?
I no knowledge at all, and I can take fault at that. But what I didn't see the problem was it was no steroid that had come up. No, I hadn't put anything into my body to enhance me. So I thought, well, when I spoke to Glenn, he was pretty confident. He thought they might say, well, you've got to get a tube.
Yeah,
So I was thinking, well, fine, I'll get it. So my wife done a little bit of research, what I'd have to do, what I'd have to get off the doctor,
yeah,
etc. etc. So I was prepared to get that, but they just declined that straight away. They said no. So So I got punished, lost my title for something that I could have proven that I needed. And then what read since is they say about that if that substance is banned, there's other alternatives. So they're saying basically that there might be other alternatives to you using your blue inhaler. Well, that's complete bollocks. You
Oh,
know, like you're given that because that's what your body may need to open up its lungs. So there is no other alternative.
I
The
mean,
red one,
it's not like it's sort of obviously, you still need on some level that cardiovascular system, don't you? You need blood pumping around your body, but it's not exactly like you're running a marathon. It's 15 seconds of like not even that
yeah,
really. It's whatever. It's a few seconds of hard work, and it's not like you're running a race, cycling. Like some cyclists have been done for doing that sort of thing, haven't they? But you can understand why and how that's going to help them.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
the whole thing's mad.
yeah. So that's what I mean. I was happy to go down every route to try and keep my title and prove my innocence, but completely declined. My personal opinion is if I was, if I think I got treated the way I did because I was English, and that's not just because I'm English, but if I'm any nationality other than being Finnish. I don't believe the way they put it out there they would have done to one of their own,
Well,
but
so
they definitely gone.
sorry. So what I was going to say is, so when I started looking at doing it, so I did obviously the whole BNSF thing and regional qualifiers and stuff like that. So obviously I had to have a look at that kind of side of things. So I looked on their website, and the only thing I ever saw of someone being banned was like an Italian athlete, and it said what they'd had, and this was a good couple of years ago, maybe longer now. Probably been a couple of years since I'd competed. So, and it just said they'd been banned for X, Y, and Z or whatever, and that was it. So when you'd been like outed on Instagram, which was ridiculous, big post embarrassing you and all that kind of thing. I scrolled throughout their whole Instagram page, like right down to the start, and I never found any other athlete or this. I just always remember that, oh, so they do actually test you because look at this Italian athlete had been
Yeah,
banned for a couple of years or something as well. But I didn't see an Instagram post anywhere saying any other athlete,
yeah,
or let alone this Italian one or anyone that had the same post like you did. Oh, this athlete's been banned. Everyone, look at this.
yeah. See, I felt. I remember I was at work. It was near the end of the day, and I was just about to get in the van to come home, and someone messaged me, Liam, the Irish Liam, world's strongest zookeeper, and
Yeah, yeah,
he said to me, "That's disgusting what they've done to you." So I had a look, and I see it, and it was the way it was publicised was like made me look like an absolute cheat.
yeah,
Um, and because it didn't, and then obviously by the time I'd got home, 20-minute drive, people started commenting, and it just got more and more, and people got more outraged. So yeah, I'm disappointed the way they posted it because obviously they told me by email that they knew that I hadn't done it on purpose. So it's like they tried to make an example of me to basically say, look, we do test and we've caught someone who's cheating
yeah,
and it's being me. So, but the support was insane. Like on that weekend, my phone did not stop. And obviously it just went mad. And Instagram, obviously, people backed me because I can understand why, because it would have been the same if it wasn't me. How can you ban someone from an asthma inhaler? But the support was amazing. And then obviously Curtis messaged me and he said, like, I need to talk about this more. Like, he asked for, like, if it was okay, and I said, of course. And he did that reel, and then it obviously went really out there because
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
he's obviously big, strong
that,
man and a
that,
person.
yeah,
So it really got out there then. And my phone, I've got a private account, so I had like nearly over 100 friend requests and
yeah,
people.
yeah,
It went mad, and the support was absolutely insane. And I said to like people since, like, normally, especially on social media, you always get a couple of people who are negative, like, oh, we should have checked then. Oh, it's his own fault. But there wasn't one bad
no,
comment. Every
no,
person, it was disgusting, and the way they treated you. So yeah, it was insane support. Forever thankful for that.
yeah. It was amazing. I mean, there's some. I mean, wasn't just sort of guys you know and compete with. It was like some big names were really backing you
Yeah,
and what have you. And
yeah.
I think just goes to show the sort of strongman community is the best out there.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The likes of Luke, Rianne, I see them. Luke's messaged me, Luke Davidson, and then Rianne, Lovelace. She'd see her comment about it. Obviously, Curtis Flash. There was loads of people that Paul Smith. They were all really supportive. Couldn't believe it, but um, it was. It's funny because obviously that can really have another effect, like to put it out there for somebody who's trying to make him look like a cheat.
Yeah.
I'm a strong-minded person anyway, so it wasn't going to affect me in that sense. I would have just turned off Instagram if it would have got got nasty, but it really didn't. It was the
I know.
complete opposite. And obviously, I'm very thankful for Curtis to do what he did. He didn't have to, and he got it out there. And obviously, I had so many messages directly to say that they would never ever compete with the BNFS again and with Way again. The way they've treated me is just disgusting. And these are people I don't even know.
Yeah.
So
Hey, listen, mate. I've got guys messaging me saying, "Should we put on a competition and invite Dean so that we're all banned?" Because one of the rules is if any of us compete with you in the next 6 months while you're banned, we are then banned,
yeah,
which is
correct.
crazy. So you couldn't even go to a charity, I don't know, charity log lifting event with a bunch of us, and we'd all get banned, which is
Yeah,
just absolutely crazy.
I think that was like it was like a final nail in the coffin for themselves because they'd done what
That
they'd
one,
done,
yeah,
and they kind of, because if you remember back to that Friday, they commented on the first few comments on their post, and then
yeah,
after that they stopped, it got too much.
yeah, they
But
did.
the BNFS come out maybe 2 or 3 days later and said, with this news, we're going to stop. That the rules are no one can compete with this British athlete. And it's kind of they've kind of put their own now. I'm sure they will get people at their competitions,
Yeah,
but
they will,
they
they
kind
will.
of put their own now in their coffin because they just made themselves look ridiculous. Um, I don't see why competing against me at England's under 80s untested would affect them.
Yeah,
So
I mean, considering so many of their competitions don't even have any kind of testing, it's crazy. And then I said to you, didn't I? Were there any other British or whatever athletes um, at that log championships? But you were the only one, and so
yeah,
therefore, three Finnish athletes all get bumped up to now from second to first, third to second, and fourth to on the podium, sort of thing.
yeah,
Which all sorts
yeah.
seem a bit suspects, but you maybe don't read
It,
much into that. It's
like I say, now it's all done with and over with. I kind of think back to the actual day itself, the way I was making me stay with the log overhead for so long. It maybe they weren't, but after, when you've been treated like this, you try and find all the negatives and kind of think, oh, I was being set up.
yeah, you do, don't you?
But in
Yeah,
my,
yeah,
of course, in my eyes, I was the strongest under 85 there. I won it. I didn't win it by cheating. So as much as that title counts for nothing now and it's not there, I still went there and won it. That's the only
well,
positive I can say, really.
you know in your own heart of hearts you didn't win by cheating. I think everyone watching this and strongman community sort of knows you are the champion. And
Yeah.
I did say to you, don't send that trophy back, will you?
No, I didn't.
Keep that on
But
the place.
but it's like I say. I think everyone. Obviously, I'm on Instagram. I'm on quite regular, as in I use it a lot and post stuff. So I think everyone who knew me, especially the under 80s and under 90s, they kind of knew that I wasn't cheating. I have no intentions to do that. If I wanted to do steroids, I'll just do steroids. I'm a 36-year-old man. I'll just do what I want
At the
anyway.
end of the
But
day, there's not even anything wrong with doing anything like
of
that. If
course,
you want to do that, that's fine. But when
yeah,
a federation or whatever come out and treat you like they have, it's pretty disheartening. But anyway,
yeah,
thinking more positively. So you're back, going to be competing at England's Strongest Man next year, aren't you, in the under 80s?
yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna where my weight is a lot, not a lot less. I'm 84. By the end of the day, I'm hitting about 85. So I'm in good position. So I'm definitely going to do England under 80s in
Is
at the
that
end
because
of.
is that because it's log for reps? So is that why you're back?
Yes, yeah, basically, yeah. But it's got sandbag throws, so I'll be rock bottom for that one. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna. So I've done 7 comps this year, but obviously with my little baby being under one throughout this year, I kind of just said, look, I'm gonna keep it local. Um, until she's won, and I did, and then I went to Arnold's Madrid, that was absolutely amazing, and then I went to
Yes, yeah,
Finland.
yeah, you went there. Yeah,
So I went abroad on the last when she turned one. Then we went abroad, it was being a little bit easier, but all the other comps were very local and just easy for me, especially to go on my own if I had to, etc. But this year, as in 2004, I'm not going to do nowhere near 7. I've got an opening one at Bionic, his first ever weight category one under 100 kg. It's around the corner to me, so I'm going to go and do that third week of January, and then England's Strongest Man, and wait for a couple of other big competitions. In my head, I really want to do the static monsters that I've never done.
yeah, because that was
So I
log.
really
Yeah,
want to go have a go. I know that's more the end of the year. The World Log Lift Championship, the one they've been doing in England, the one I did the year before last, I definitely want to do that again. So they're two I'm definitely going to sign up for, but they're more the end of the year from what I remember. So at the moment, it's just going to be full focus on England's Strongest Man until something really comes up that I really fancy.
yeah. Well, don't forget you'll have record breakers for the UKNS. Uh,
Yeah,
so that'll have
but
that sort of,
even that one that tends to be more the end of the year,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
it?
that'll
So
be like November time. So think about that, mate, because I think you'd be more than welcome the UKNS. So
yeah, well, obviously, a few people messaged me saying I'll just jump on it in January, etc. But I ain't done no training for it. I haven't even been. It's not even been in my head. So I definitely ain't. And it was filled out. Like I know you had a full class. I think a few people said people pulled out. You could have got in, but I'm not too worried about that. But I definitely would like to go and break the 120 log record. And I'm sure there's other people like Jack who would be fancying themselves to go and do it as well. So I'm not saying
yeah,
it'll just be, but it's something that I can obviously set my sights on. And I think if I can just keep my body weight to what it is now, and as be as strong as what I am at the moment, then I'm very very confident. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you should be. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but
Uh,
that yeah, go on.
no, I was just sort of like going to move on to a sort of a couple of a little bit more personal sort of side of things for you, really, because this is also to try and get people to get to know you as a person and as an athlete. We've heard your crazy story of 2023. Um, so, yeah, so you've got a little girl now, haven't you?
Yeah, it's got a little girl, Polly. She was born. She's 15 months now, 14 months. So
Yeah,
yeah, not. Oh, she's growing fast now.
as I say, mate, girls are crazy. I've got two.
Yeah.
And they're lunatics, mate. You wait till they're about 4 or 5, or she's about 4 or 5. So
Yeah, no, yeah, she's a good girl. It's been good. It's been a good Christmas with her, so we've really enjoyed it.
nice one, mate. I'm glad that everything's not put you on it like you've had a rubbish Christmas because of it and all that kind of stuff. And
No,
time.
after all the support I got and that, I kind of I moved on. Like I say, I'm strong minded. I've got a family, a mortgage. I've got a job. Like I've got a lot of things that are a lot more important to worry about. So I'm not. I wasn't going to dwell on it. If it would have come up and like an antibiotic steroid was in there, and I been like known as a cheat, then maybe that would have affected me a lot more. That maybe I tried to cheat the system and got caught. But the
Yeah,
fact is that something that I could have never changed. It's a lot easier to get over, if that makes sense.
yeah. No, I think that no one's in any doubt, mate, that I'm trying to cheat. I couldn't imagine you in the changing rooms having 12 puffs because it's going to give you a lot. Oh, I've got another 5 kilos here.
Yeah, well, I think Curtis put a post up a week or so later, and he basically his research showed that it's actually a disadvantage.
Say that again, mate. We just cut out briefly. So you're saying about your little girl's now 15 months, so you're going to travel in a bit more with your comps and stuff.
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, I'm hoping to. Obviously, she's a bit more of a handful now because she wants to be walking about and that. So Rianne's struggling a little bit more with to keep her under control. But we'll see. I don't know if they're going to come to England with me. I think I'm going to have to do that dreaded drive to Preston on my own. It's a long way from Essex, especially on a walk. I can imagine be a water cut at the time. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we will see.
Mm. Um, One thing I always like to do on these is go back a little bit. We normally start with this, but obviously we had quite a big discussion to talk about and hear your side of things. So yeah, look, let's just go back to the beginning real quick. Why? Because you used to play football at quite a good level, didn't you? So what got
Yeah,
you to strongman?
I played a good level up until about 30, I think it was, and then we went travelling, me and my wife, for our wedding anniversary, and then I come back and I was like, I really want to get into the gym, so I started the gym, done that for about 3 years, put on a bit of size and got a bit of muscle, and then I met a lot of people used to say to me I was pretty strong. I should do competitions, and then I fell into Tomo, who was quite big and strong man. So Tomo then got me into strongman. That's how I fell into it. Basically, just by going to the gym. It used to be obviously I got a good bench, and I used to do a lot of bench and that. People was like, "You're strong," and then I just fell into strongman. So I never really even followed it. And then I'd done my first competition. Loved it, and then ever since, I think off the top of my head, I think I've done 16 comps now, maybe more.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, it was purely a bit of gym. I'm quite dedicated. I train all the time, and then at strongman kind of just fell into place. No real reason.
Right. Yeah.
So
So you didn't necessarily. Did you just do the standard like watch it at Christmas as a kid, or was it
yeah, I watched a little
that
bit
more
of
than
it.
that?
I didn't. I've always been a big football person, so football's always dominated my life
Yeah. Yeah.
throughout. And then obviously, yeah, I watched a bit, but I didn't really know much about it, and then kind of just really got into it. I think this is my 2024 would be my fourth year, I think now. So yeah, I kind of as soon as I got into it, being the person I am, I was like, I want to get in a competition and see where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and me overhead pressing was just something that I was just really good at. I just got really good shoulders. Don't know if that's come from being a bricklayer, whereas obviously young guys on the hod. So I was a hoddy and I got strong shoulders. Now I don't know, but either way, the overhead was an absolute. It was just come very easy to me.
It's 35 years of that inhaler, mate. That's what's done it.
Yeah, yeah, and that I didn't know of.
You didn't you didn't know you was pumping up from that.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, because I met you when we competed, didn't we? And you beat me on that one because you that log I was playing catch up from the rest of the competition then.
Yeah, so that was my second year, I think. So think I'd done two competitions before that, and then I obviously started getting coached by Adam Bishop. So then I had Bish as a coach, and that was my first competition under him, and I won it. And then I've done Britain's strongest under 80. I think it was like a week later or 2 weeks later, and got brought back down to earth that day.
Mate, you will do. I went to England's God, when would it have been now? Oh, last year, yeah. So I feel like I've been injured for years, but it's
Yeah,
a year.
yeah,
Um, yeah, no, so 2022, wasn't it? And I knew I wouldn't be at my best because I've just come back off holiday. Excuses again.
yeah.
Um, but I thought, I'll still do all right. So I got absolutely obliterated. So,
There's
but
an
next
incredible,
year I'm going to do it properly and I'm going to train properly. I'm not going to go on holidays before and
yeah.
then I was
As
there.
an incredible group of lads. I must admit though, I still regard myself up there with my pressing, even as a natty against some of the boys that do enhancers. So I'm pretty confident I can still be in and around it. Like I'm confident on that 120 log. I will rep that.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but it's the other events I fall massively behind. So, but it is what it is. I just like to be in the mix. I want to be there and involved with the very best. So,
yeah,
um, and that's that. Hopefully, on from that and learn. It's just certain things I need to do more of. But it's been the moving events is something that I obviously lack to do with my gym at home. But it's getting out to the gym now from getting home from work, going to another gym. It only really leaves me the weekends. But that's not an excuse. If I want to be with the best, I've got to make improvements there.
Yeah.
Statically, that do it for fun. Like in my house, at my gym, I can do all the time. So
You see, because you've got a great little setup at home, haven't you? At the
but
apartment you got,
yeah, yeah. It
something
was
you
something after lockdown. I said to Rianne, let's invest on an outbuilding. So we obviously spent a fair bit of money on it, and it's been the best thing I ever did because it allows me now to get home from work, see Polly for till she goes to bed, and then I train at 8 o'clock at night.
yeah,
So and I ain't got to get out in the car and go into Chelmsford Town where it's Ramo. So I literally can just walk out in the garden at any time I want. I've trained all over Christmas, trained even Christmas Day because I can, because
yeah,
I
yeah,
can just
yeah.
go out there for 5 minutes, you know. So
That's brilliant, mate. Yeah. That was the plan here with my little home garage gym, but at the minute it's full of flooring already for the big UKNS England's coming up, and then
yeah,
so it's gone a bit out the window. Um, so yeah, well, tell you what, mate. What I'll do is I'll let you get back to your family, and
yeah,
same here really, because I can hear them shouting me and stuff like that. It's been really good chatting with you, and
yeah.
hope everyone that's been listening and watching has enjoyed it as well, and got to know you a little bit more. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to get my side out. I'm sure it's obviously long. People might not sit all the way through it, but there has obviously been a lot of interest with what happened. So hopefully people will find it a bit more interesting to actually see how it went and how it was with Wave on my side of it, because obviously at the moment it's just their side banning me. So
listen, if people weren't sure about your honesty, I think after this video they will know that you're a legitimate guy, mate, and hopefully you'll have a much better year next year. Not that it's been bad this year; it's just been a bit of a spanner in the works,
yeah,
hasn't it? But let's say
yeah,
a bit
yeah,
smooth next year, and yeah,
yeah.
and
I plan to have a less comps but bigger comps, and kind of, yeah, there may not be a comp I win or get podium next year, but I will be mixing with the best, and that's the plan.
that's it, mate. Yeah, and I might even see you there myself, mate, at
Yeah,
England's. We'll see.
yeah,
I won't be doing no 120 logs though. I'll tell you that. Yeah, it's been great chatting with you, mate. I'll let you get back, and thanks very much. And I'll see you soon. See you soon.
yeah.
All right,
Cheers,
buddy.
mate.
See you later,
Bye.
mate.